What's up, family? Now, y'all already know what time it is. It is Black History Month, so you know we got to do something special. So this month, we're going to be releasing episodes Mondays and Fridays, showcasing Black unity, Black excellence, and Black acceptance. I bring on so many Black kings and queens that are shedding their light in this world in an amazing way. So I cannot wait for y'all to hear everything we talk about. Tune in right now to Talks to Darius Deon, Black History Month edition. Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back to Talks to Darius Deon. I'm just so thankful for all of y'all that have been tuning in and downloading each and every one of my episodes. But y'all, it's Black History Month, and you already know we just have to take this a little bit higher on my podcast. In today's episode, the topic is higher education with my friend and now former professor or just Black student organization leader, Kanika Brown. And y'all, Black History Month, we're talking about Black unity, excellence, and just acceptance. And so what better way to bring on people that have been so influential in my life? And I just want y'all to hear about them. So right now, I'm going to introduce Kanika Brown. I mean, I've known her since freshman year at OCU, and she was just a safe place to go to, whether I had any problems pertaining to me just being Black or just everyday problems or issues. But right now, just let her, before I talk too much, I'll go ahead and let her introduce herself, and she'll tell you her name, her occupation, and maybe how she's been doing since this pandemic.
All right. Thanks, Darius. First, I just want to thank you for inviting me on. I'm always so excited when students go on and just do big things. You were already doing big things. So I'm not shocked that this was kind of another thing you added to your plate. So thanks for having me.
Thank you.
I'm Kanika Brown. I am currently the Director of Career Services at Oklahoma City University. So yes, that's where I met the lovely Darius at his time as a student. So I've been there about 5.5 years. Started off as coordinator, moved to assistant, and now I'm director, one of the only directors of color on campus. Hey. So I like to point that out, especially during Black History Month, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And how I've been doing during the pandemic, I'm good. I'm better now. Good. I turned 40 in the pandemic, so it gave me a lot of time to reflect. That whole time just on my life and what am I doing with my life and where am I at in my life. I was still working. I was in a master's program, which I finished in July.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm also a mom, so I was doing homeschool and virtual school. So I didn't have a lot of time to just sit back and think about what was happening in the world too often. But yeah, I'm doing well. Happy that things are, slowly but surely getting to this new normal. I hate to say going back to normal, but getting to a new normal, back on campus, back helping students, doing what I love. So I've been good, but thanks again for inviting me. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I was just so glad to have you on. And my next question for you is maybe what's a fun fact about you?
Fun fact is that I love reality TV.
Hey.
Any type of reality TV, to be honest. I am like a real world baby. So if you don't know what the real world is, it was on MTV. It was kind of one of the first introductions to reality TV. They put 7 strangers in a house together to, start their lives and stop being real was the tagline. And that hit in like 92. And my whole dream was to be on The Real World. I never was. I did audition. I did try out, but I didn't make it. So that is definitely a fun fact. I will watch anything. I was just watching something earlier today that's new on Netflix. So I can win all reality TV trivia. I'll just say that.
We all love us some reality TV. But I mean, honestly, hearing about everything that you've been doing throughout this pandemic and just throughout this past year, it just goes to show just how powerful Black women really are. And so I just want to commend you on that. But getting into our topic of today, higher education and just you being a Black woman in that field. So tell us about your job at OCU, like what it pertains to, your experiences there, any troubles or trials you might have, anything.
Yeah, so I did come from corporate America. So I didn't take the typical route that a lot of folks that end up in higher education do. A lot of folks, were RAs in college and then went and got their master's in higher education and then they work in higher education.
Mm-hmm.
I did not go that route. So it's a little bit different for me. I actually started off as a broadcaster. I was on air personality for about 7 years. Then I worked in HR, and that was corporate HR, right? I worked in banking, I worked in transportation and the medical field, all in HR. So my journey to higher ed was a little bit different. The reason I did want to enter higher ed was because of my higher education experience. I was a typical first generation college student, entered the world of the University of Oklahoma. So one of the bigger state schools in Oklahoma and in the nation, right?
Yes.
No clue what I was doing, just confused and lost, right? To the point where I flunked out my freshman year of college. And then going through that journey and not really realizing the support and resources I had, but also no one telling me what I had was really what made me say, if I can ever go back and help students that are having those same struggles as me, that's what I want to do. So when I did finally graduate with my bachelor's degree at the age of 30, I like to tell people that, right? Like it took me a really long time. But when I graduated with my degree in psychology and sociology, I was applying for every higher education job I could find in Oklahoma.
That's awesome.
And I just never was really getting anything, right? It was like, you need 3 years of experience. You need 2 years. I'm like, how am I gonna get experience? I ain't doing it, right? So I took my time, and luckily my husband was actually working at OCU, and I would ask him often, okay, tell me when the job is open. And so when the career services position became open, he was like, I think this one will work, because he's my husband. He knows me, right? He's like, exactly. That's not it. No, don't apply for that. But he was like, I think this is it. And I can honestly say this is probably one of my favorite jobs for multiple reasons. One, I love helping people. That's just like my passion. Yeah. So being able to help students on their journey is great. But also I had a really great mentor in my director who hired me initially. She was very open to teaching me what I needed to know, and for also, letting me kind of be my authentic self. It's the most authentic I've ever been able to be outside of radio, was this job. So just being able to be myself and being involved as well on campus. So that is how I ended up here. Some trials, I will say, just imposter syndrome. Like I said, a lot of people knew they wanted to be in higher education from jump. That wasn't me. I was the person that I'm a risk taker when it comes to work. I'll always do something for the first time. Yeah. I've never done a job before, is what I like to say. But being in a space with a lot of people that have master's degrees or even doctoral degrees, it was just like, oh, I don't want to go back to school. I don't want to do this. How do I do this? Yeah. So that was something I had to kind of wrestle with myself. And that's when I decided, I will get a master's, because the only way to move up in higher ed is to have that education. So I had to play the game, right? Yeah. And at the end of the day, OCU paid for my degree. So I got something to out of it. So that is really one of probably the bigger thing that I kind of struggled with, was figuring out, okay, you can be yourself. You have a different, perspective of life, period, right? Yeah, even sitting down talking to students, y'all are smarter than me. Like I would sit there and be like, ooh, you got some big goals. I hope you accomplish this. Is amazing. Okay, we gonna do this. I can tell you how to get through these steps, but I do know my skill set. I know who I am and I know what I have to offer. So that was what I just kind of figured out, and it got me to where I am today. I mean, I wouldn't be director. It wasn't just the degree, right, that got me there. It was who I am and the work that I put in. So that's kind of my journey.
That's so good. I mean, what would you say to somebody that is dealing with imposter syndrome, like how to get through it?
Deal with it, stare it in the face, look right at it, and ask yourself why. Because who is the imposter that you're trying to be, right? Like, who are you trying to be? And maybe that's just not who you need to be. Maybe you do need to stand out. A lot of times we get stuck trying to fit into a system or fit into a culture or, do all these things. And I am very much a contrarian. I go against the grain all the time. I'm going to rebel. Oh, you want me to do that? I'm gonna go this way. You want to go up? I'm gonna go there. Like, that's just me. So I say to face that is just to face it, to say it, I do feel like I shouldn't be here, and then figure out why, and then figure out why you actually should be there. So that would be the real, and it takes time. Like I said, I mean, I just turned 40. I got this job at 35. So, it was a long time coming. And, if you're 25, first of all, live your life, have fun, kick it, make all the mistakes right now. I tell all my students, do not try to grow up so fast. Be responsible. And growing up are two different things. Right. I've always been a very responsible person. I'm the baby of two, I'm the only girl. But I've always been an independent, responsible person. But I have made a million mistakes. And without those, I wouldn't be who I am. So, it's okay to be an imposter. So what? Everybody else around you is going to feel the same way. Everybody just doesn't speak it. And a lot of times you'll think you're the one that's not, where you should be, where everybody else is thinking the same thing.
So true. That's so good. Thank you so much for that advice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And going into my next question, I mean, I know you have the Black Student Organization and you're the head of it. How did that all come about? Like, what is it like right now?
So that was, something that happened to fall in my lap. Once again, I love helping people, right? I was a part of the Black Student Association when I was in college. I was not super involved. Not gonna lie, I probably was involved my freshman year, and then that was it. So that's why I'm never shocked when I'm like, well, they ain't coming back because they don't want to come back. But I was involved in another organization called the National Association of Black Journalists, and that was more of a professional organization. That was what I, wanted to do with my life. So I was heavily involved in that. So when I came to OCU, of course, with it being a predominantly white institution, it's just not a lot of Black students. But it's not a lot of Black staff, and probably no Black faculty, right? And so as I got to know students, luckily in my position, I get to know everybody. We were always out, in the caf or, around and about. And so I got to know students. And I will say during STARS week, so that's like the week, or not STARS week, the week before you come to school, when you're kind of going through all the auditions and all those things, I would run into Black parents that would come up to me because it's like they saw me and they was like, hey.
Oh, yeah,
and I'm
exactly.
like, hey.
Yes.
And I'm like, don't worry about it. I got you. Right. And so I kind of took that role even before being advisor. So there was a different advisor when I started, and she was actually leaving the university. And when I came in, there were about 5 or 6 Black women on staff. And I took it upon my little bubbly social butterfly self to create sister girl lunches. And so I emailed every Black female on staff and was like, hey, y'all want to go to lunch or happy hour? I think we did. And that's how I got to know people, the other Black women on campus. And so that's how I got to know her. And I knew she wasn't staying at OCU. And my initial thought was like, what's going to happen to the babies? Like, you go lead the kids. And she was like, you want to do it? And I was like, oh, wait, because it was my first semester working. But I was like, if you can't find nobody else, I'll do it. She literally sent me all the information, emailed me everything. It was like, Kanika will be the new advisor of BSA. So that's kind of how I got it. And I was like, okay. And so the spring of that next year, I just jumped in head first. Connected with Ashley Robinson, who was the BSA president at the time, who's running for Miss America, tomorrow? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, she did.
Listen, I'm just like, whoa. But she was the president. I sat down, talked to her, was like, what do you want this to be? And I just showed up at a meeting and I just got to know the students. And we just kind of rebuilt it because it was really about to crumble. They didn't have support. They didn't really know what they wanted. They know they wanted it, but didn't know how to do it. And I didn't either. And so we just figured it out together. And I am still the advisor today. It's been a struggle. I still love the babies. Y'all get on my nerves sometimes, not gonna lie. But I think once again, being authentic, I'm not trying to change anybody. I'm not trying to make nobody like this person or that person. I just want to be, a safe space, kind of like you mentioned, for all students, but definitely Black students to come and, talk to me and, tell me kind of what's going on. I've had a lot of deep conversations with students throughout the years. And that's why I'm at graduation crying all the time. I'm like, oh my God, you made it. And, I'm following y'all and I'm like following your journeys. And I'm like, look, they did it. I actually see that freshman year to senior year growth. And it is amazing to me to see how students are able to just come into themselves, because that's what college is for, right? It's, to learn and make mistakes and figure out what you want to do and what you don't want to do and who you like and who you don't like. And just being there able to help navigate students with that is really why I love being a part of DSA, being the advisor, even though they get on my nerves.
I just know everybody appreciates you so much. You just don't know how much. And I just can't thank you enough for even just being there and still being there. I mean,
I'm still there.
And I mean,
I'll be honest, that is one reason, I'll think, oh, I could do something else.
Yeah.
I could do something different. I could definitely make more money. Let's just be real. But I really do stay for the students. If anybody else you ask me why I'm there, it's for the students. It ain't for my check. It's not for, the love of OCU, which is a great school. I appreciate the campus. Everybody needs work. There's good and bad and everything.
Yeah.
But if it was not for the students, I'll be out. Like if I mention it, they're like, no. And I'm like, oh, can I live my life? But yeah, that is definitely why I stay. Because I mean, who would be there? And so that's and that sucks, but it's real.
No, that is real. That's so good though. I mean, you inspire so many people and students. What inspires you?
Oh, Lordy. So I do have a 9-year-old who will be 10 on Tuesday. I'm surprised he did not run in here and like jump on the camera because
my birthday Wednesday.
You a Sagittarius too?
Yeah.
I should have. Listen, every time somebody tell me, I'm like, okay, this makes sense. But he definitely inspires me just to keep going and to just be better. I know that I have an exceptional child. I'm one of them parents. I'm gonna brag on my kid. Smart, loving, just gets to know people, is not shy from anything. But in order for him to be great, I have to be greater. And so it's kind of like that, if you're on a plane, put your mask on first, then you can help people. That's just, how I am. But sometimes I'm like, can you put your mask on and help me? And I know my baby will help me. But he definitely inspires me to just keep going and to be there. He's been at my graduations. He's been on a college campus. And so he wants to go to college. And, he wants to go to OCU. And I'm like, no, I want you to go away to college. But just him, seeing me, do what I do and like looking up to his mom and giving me my energy. Because he definitely gives me my energy. We got to go on a shopping spree today for his birthday. But that is definitely my biggest inspiration. And then the students on campus, to be honest, especially the Black students that I work with closely. Just seeing you all just thrive, especially during the pandemic, which was super hard for everybody.
Yeah.
And just being able to kind of get up and keep going. That's definitely a big inspiration for me as well.
So good. I mean, my next question is, have you ever wanted to pursue anything else other than what you're doing right now? Or what would you pursue if you weren't?
Okay. So I do like this question because, like I said, I was a radio personality for 7 years. That was literally what I wanted to do. It is in my senior book. It was to be on the radio. So I have been lucky enough to do what I wanted to do. And so I've been lucky enough to do that. And then the other thing was like helping people. And so I'm able to do that too. The only thing I haven't done that I want to do, oddly enough, is start a podcast. And I've been saying this since like 2018.
Go ahead and do it.
But my podcast is going to be a little, I got to get some things understood because it's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, I do want to eventually either start a nonprofit program or some type of organization for young Black women. I was a part of an organization called Young Educated Sisters, yes, in high school that really helped me. I had 5 Black women, professional women mentors that just taught us the basics, like how to write a check and, how to do a resume. And we visited Black colleges. We learned about Kwanzaa. We did, fashion shows, and we just had meetings every other week just talking about life. And I have always wanted to start that back. So that's something I've been stewing on for years. And now that I'm done with school and kind of my son's growing up a little bit, I plan to, within the next 5-10 years, get that back off the ground as well. So that's definitely one of my goals.
That's amazing. So good. I mean, as a Black woman and in today's world, like, what are you feeling like? How is everything going for you? Like, is there any things you want to try to solve? I mean, anything on your mind right now, which I know there's a lot.
We got to do? I ain't trying to solve nothing.
No, for real though.
You know what? I feel great. I am fortunate enough, and I know a lot of people are not able to do this, but I have always known who I am. Exactly. If that makes sense. I think everybody evolves, but at a point about 18 to 25, you kind of figure out who you want to be in life. And then you evolve on it. So there's nothing you shouldn't want to change who you are, or, do all these, adjustments, but you do want to evolve into who you are. So I am doing well because I know who I am. Good. I know who I am and I know whose I am, right? And so I know that, any obstacle that I face, I'm gonna get back up, and what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Like, that's one of my mottos. And so, no, there's nothing I want to solve either. I believe in being mediocre. I love Black excellence. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like we put so much pressure on ourselves as Black people to be excellent and great. It's just like, sometimes I'm just tired. Sometimes I just want to lay down and watch TV, and I don't want to do the thing today. And I will say, I fight with that too, though, because I just recently was at a professional conference with a lot of other professionals in my field, and a lot of Black professionals in my field. It's a bunch of us. And just seeing so many people that are like on their journeys to getting doctorates or already doctors or, directors and things like that. And 3 years ago, when I went to this conference, I was questioning a lot of things like, oh, should I be doing that? Or should I be, this year I was like, hey, I'm gonna be your village because the doctorate ain't for me, or, I'm gonna just do what I know how to do best. And it took me a minute to figure that out too, because you do kind of get absorbed with what's going on around you, and you feel like you're not doing enough. Exactly. But I'm just one of people, I'm like, if you woke up today and you breathing and you was able to eat or, rest or whatever was on your agenda, you got 2 other 8 things knocked off, then you're good. So I'm just comfortable. I'm happy. I have a lot of things going on, but I'm a Libra. So I love peace and balance.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything that does not bring me peace or balance, you got to go. Like, I can't deal with it. And so as long as I'm at peace and I have my balance in place, then I'm good.
I feel that. My next question is, what motivates you? What drives you to keep going and to keep pushing?
Just life. I love living life, and I come from a stock of strong Black women. So I know I can't, stop moving and I can't fail. So that's kind of my motivation. But my motivation is me. Right? Like, I feel like if you can't motivate yourself, nobody else can. So my motivation is just like looking and talking to Kanika in the mirror. Like, okay, what are we doing today? Nothing. We're going to do our hair today. Listen, Darius, I just took my bonnet off. Okay. I was like, I was real cute all last week. I'm chilling this weekend. But I get that motivation just from myself. I give myself those pep talks, and I, make sure I'm able to get up. And then my son is my motivation too. He's making me get out the house today. Yeah, I could literally lay in the bed all day and eat my snacks and watch my reality TV. But his birthday is coming up. And as you Sagittarius know, your birthday is the whole month. So I got to do something all month. But yeah, he's definitely my motivation. But yeah, myself, I try to motivate myself, because at the end of the day, it's me, myself, and I in this thing, and got to just keep moving.
Good. I mean, my next question is, what would you say to little young Black boys and girls out there who might be listening to this, or who just might be wanting to pursue something and dream bigger in life?
Yeah, I would say you can do it. You can do whatever you put your mind to, right? Do your best. Never try to be perfect. I'm really big on that. Just do your best, the best that you can, the best that you know, put into place. Like figure out what your goals are and what the reach is that you want to reach, and just figure out who you are as a person. Figure out what that means to you, what makes you happy. Never try to, you know, have people influence you, which is hard. It's really hard in the world right now, you know, social media and all other things going on.
Yes.
But just trying to not allow that to take over who you feel like you are in your spirit. You got to sit with yourself. You got to kind of sit very still and quiet, and because that's scary too. A lot of people don't like to just sit and be. And I think when you do that and you just sit and you're just with yourself and you're like, okay, I want to do these things. I want to do, you know, I'm not a journaler. I don't like keep journals, or, you know, I'm very spiritual, but I don't like go to church. You know, I grew up in church, but I don't go to church, but I know Jesus. But I'm not the person, you know, I don't like sit and read my Bible every day, or, you know, I do what works for me. You know, I love a lavender scent. So my whole house smells like lavender because that calms me. You know, I like a good, you know, wine every now and then. I'm gonna sip that when I want to, right? Whatever kind of brings me that peace. But that's what I would tell people. Find out what brings you joy and push back on who tells you that's not working.
Yeah.
Because if it works for you, it works for you.
Exactly.
Just because it didn't work for somebody else. And that's kind of hard too, because a lot of people like to influence, tell you. And you get to 40, 50 years old and you're like, I didn't get to do anything I wanted. Exactly. So definitely, you know, do what you feel makes you happy.
I mean, as you're saying, telling people to do what makes them happy, what actually makes you happy?
Being able to do what I want.
That's true. That's so good.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm hard-headed, I'm stubborn. And I think I get it from my mama and my daddy. Like it's like a mix of deal. Me and my brother are both Libras, and we are very much do what we feel like. Like if I don't want to get up, I'm not getting up till I feel like it, right? Like being able to do what I want to do, because I know once I do it, I'm gonna be energized and it's gonna make me happy. Now that of course, the real world, you got to go to work, you got to do these things, you know, you got to do the thing. But at the end of the day, just being able to just do what I feel is important to me and the people that I love, you know, the people around me. And anytime I can make somebody better or give somebody, you know, make somebody smile, you know me, I laugh and crack jokes. Like that's just me. I don't like being too serious. Yeah. Just like shake it off. We gonna keep it moving. Drop a thug tear and let's go. Right. Yeah. I tell my son a lot of times, you know, if he's upset, I'm like, okay, I want you to sit with this for 5 minutes to deal with it. Feel your feelings. Shake that off and let's go. Right. Because you can get too bogged down into like the heaviness of the world, especially as Black people. Yes, it's stuff hitting us every day. And if you just sit and get so bogged down with it, like you will get stuck. And I just don't like being stuck. So I got to do what I want when I want to do it. Yeah. And then I feel better. Only person I don't do that for is my child. I can't do what I want, but outside of that, that's what I do.
So good. And my last question for you is, what are your dreams and goals maybe for the next 5-10 years or even tomorrow? Shoot.
Yes. Listen, tomorrow, right? Well, I kind of mentioned the building that organization, the young educated. I think I'm changing young educated people because I can help, you know, little Black boys and girls. Yeah. But definitely doing that, just being a mentor. I was lucky enough to be a mentor to some colleagues this year that just reached out to me on a whim. And so I ended up with 3 mentees and I was like, what is happening? I never saw myself as a, you know, someone that somebody's like asking career advice and things like that from outside of students, right? But not peers. So being able to continue those mentorship relationships that I have, also gaining more mentors just for myself. And just, you know, figuring out career wise, you know, is this where I want to stay? Because right now I'm super happy with what I'm doing. I would love to stay in higher education. You know, I would actually love to stay in career services just because the support and everything is there professionally. But I just want to continue to make a difference, to, you know, be able to be, you know, a light to others is definitely something that I pride myself on, and making people's day, you know, and doing all those things. But yeah, definitely that organization, possibly starting my podcast
Hey.
later later on in life. It's gonna be a deep one. That's why it hasn't started yet. And then just being the best mom I can be. I love being a
Yeah.
mom. I love being a mom to my one child. I do have a stepdaughter, but she's 19, so we've got her to her place. I don't have a bunch of kids, and that was by design. So I just try to do the most I can for the one that I have. And just, making sure he continues to look up to me too. And I just learn from him as well.
Amazing. I mean, I'm just honestly though so thankful that you were able to come on this episode and be here.
Yeah, thanks for
And
having me.
no problem. I mean, everybody that's tuning in, I hope you can really see the light and the radiance that she sheds on the world. And she was just really just this ball of sunshine. And I'm just so thankful that I was able to have her in my life and just.
Okay, before we jump off though, I got some questions for you. Can I ask you a question?
I mean, yeah, you can. I've never done it.
Nobody's asked you this. See, you picked me.
Yeah.
So I want to know what motivates you, because like I said, I have followed your journey. I know we weren't like super close on campus, but I watch everybody. Y'all know I have my eyes on you. What just makes you keep going and doing what you're doing? You're a performer, so that can be a little difficult. And like going through the pandemic, right? It was probably like, okay, shoot now, but how did you get through that? And kind of what makes you continue to go? Because I think this being Black History Month episode, I think it's very important for folks to hear a Black man in the industry that you are in. That can be difficult as well sometimes.
Yeah.
How do you continue to keep moving?
Honestly, I do everything I do just for like my family, and then most importantly, my mama, because I watch her go through so many things and really give her last to me, my brother, and my sister. And so that's what really motivates me to keep going. Because my goal is like literally what my goal is since I've been little is to buy my house. I mean, buy my mama this big house one day on whatever land she wants. Because that's all she told me she's like ever wanted. She was like, buy me a house. You get all this money, buy me a house. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And so that plus like God is the one that keeps me going. Because I mean, you get so many no's in this industry and just in this field that it just honestly becomes tiring and hard. Sometimes you might not have the finances. Sometimes you might not have the resources. But really what motivates me is to keep going is because I really want to change the world in whatever way I can. I mean, on this tour that I just recently went on, just seeing how many people's lives can be impacted just by a simple monologue, by you giving an inspirational speech, or just by you simply talking to them. And we went to this actual detention center where we performed and did all these things. But I ended up praying. I also sang a little portion of Here I Am to Worship because the head lady wanted me to sing just to give a little sermon to them. And then I ended up praying and I was like, look what God can do just by me being obedient and me not even knowing like what I was stepping into. And I just ended up using all three of my gifts in one place. And so seeing how much of an impact I really can have just by me being me and being obedient is really what keeps me going. So just like never giving up, knowing there's going to be brighter days, and then really just trying to see this light at the end of the tunnel that I know is going to be there. I mean, that's why I started this podcast, because I wanted to be a hope and a beacon of hope and light for people that look like me and not look like me, but also just to show everybody that, I mean, if I can do it, you can do it too. It might be a little rough patch here and there, but I know it's going to turn out all right.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love that. Okay, last question. This is my last question.
Yeah.
For, as we all know, Black men are not the highest rated folks to go to college, right? Unfortunately. What would you tell a little boy, that's like, oh, I'm not supposed to be in college. That's not my thing. I don't think that's what I want to do. I can't afford it, or I'm not smart enough. What would you, what type of inspiration would you give someone, a young Black man following or that in your family or friends that would want to go to college but don't think they can succeed?
I would say you can succeed. It doesn't matter what anybody tries to tell you or what they try to throw at you. Just know that you really are worthy and enough in this world that tries to tell you that you're not. Because you can beat the odds. You already beat the odds by you just even wanting to go to college, and people always trying to down you. But really just never give up and keep going and know that, you have so many good times in college for one.
Yes.
But also like it's going to feel so powerful and so good, especially you taking on this journey by yourself. You won't have maybe your parents or anybody to look after you, but just to watch yourself grow and learn and become a better man through it all is why I believe that it's worth it. Like, just really honestly, just keep believing in yourself and don't ever give up, no matter what anybody tries to tell you.
Okay, awesome. Okay, I'm gonna stop taking over your podcast
Nah,
now.
you're good. I'm actually very excited for people to hear this one. It's gonna be really nice.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Like I said, thank you for having me. And I'm just like I love seeing y'all just do big things. I will follow everybody. Listen, if I could travel across the country and see all the shows, I would definitely be there. So just know I'm cheering you on.
Thank you.
From a distance, as always. You can always count on me for anything.
Thank you.
If I don't answer, it's because I'm probably asleep or watching TV. But yeah, thank you again so much, Darius, for having me.
No, thank you so much. But all right, y'all. This is Talks to Darius Deon. We'll see you later.